Hi, it's Jessica Rector, founder of This Man Thing, where we help men become their truest, best, badass versions of themselves. You can find us at thismanthing.com or join our free Facebook group at thismanthing.com/groups, where men are connecting with each other for much needed community support and camaraderie. So we'd love to have you there. Please help me welcome my guest today. Jeffrey Hayzlett is a primetime television host of C-Suite with Jeffrey Hayzlett in Executive Perspectives live on C-Suite TV, and is the host of the award-winning All Business with Jeffrey Hayzlett on C-Suite Radio. Hayzlett is a global business celebrity, Hall of Fame speaker, best-selling author, and chairman of C-Suite Network, home to the world's most trusted network of C-Suite leaders. Please help me give a warm welcome to Jeffrey. Thank you for being here today.
Good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I love it when someone says, hey, you can come and be a show on the most badass, be your badass self, because that's typically what you see with me. So I'm here in my office in South Dakota. I'm in my office in South Dakota, which is rare. I just got back from being with a bunch of CEOs for the last 3-4 days up in the Teton Mountains, where we were doing some fly fishing, and we call it a cast and blast. Our hero club, it's called the Hero CEO Club. We have a group of execs to get together on a regular basis, and we have some fun. So we did what we call a cast and blast, where we caught fish, and then we got to shoot guns. So it was awesome.
Wow. Well, that sounds like the best of both worlds right there. In South Dakota, I don't know that I know anybody besides you now that has an office in South Dakota.
Yeah, well, there's a few offices here, not a lot, but especially for companies that are more global. In terms of its responses, not a lot of those kind of companies in South Dakota, but we're glad to be a part of it. And we just expanded. We own a building here in South Dakota, and we're just expanding. They actually typically have a big open office environment, but they put me in a room because I'm so loud. So
I love that. Well, that's pretty exciting. I've actually been to South Dakota one time to speak. So I was like, oh, it's just a different, I never thought, well, let me go to South Dakota, but I loved it up there. Besides the fact my cell phone didn't work up there, but I loved it.
Well, I have no idea why they should. We have coverage, we have electricity, we have all the modern conveniences in life. Typically here in South Dakota, we just have a lot more space than normal. A lot fewer people. There are more people in the stands in Indianapolis 500 the day of the race than most of our entire state. So, it's about 450 miles wide by about 250 miles tall. Wow. And we only have about 700,000 people in it. So it's a great place to be. It's a great place to raise a family, a great place to run a business. One of the greatest business environments in the world is right here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and we're pretty excited.
That is pretty exciting. So tell us a little bit about how you got started on this journey, primetime television, radio, all of that stuff, and kind of the ups and downs of that.
Well, there's been a lot of ups and downs as normal for most careers. And I'm a former Fortune 100 CMO, and I was doing some work. I was a judge on Celebrity Apprentice for 3 years, and while doing that, I kind of got the bug for TV, and more people started asking me to do it. So I created my own primetime show, which was on Bloomberg. We now transferred that over and created our own digital network, which is called C-Suite TV. And that was a result of being on Bloomberg. I was at Bloomberg, a contributing editor and host of, as I said, my own show, #1 primetime show. We had #1 in terms of people who were watching, #1 in terms of gross dollars, #1 in terms of net dollars, which is important for a guy like me because I own the show. And we started seeing more people watch us online than we're watching through broadcast. So as a result, I turned to the team and said, let's go create our own network, our own show digitally. A lot of people are doing them on YouTube. We decided to go a little bit different route, a little bit more expensive, but broader. And we put ours on what's called an OTT platform, an over-the-top television platform. We have digital, we have streaming. So we're seen on Apple, Roku, Amazon Fire, and now Opera TV, 1.5 billion smart TVs.
Wow.
And then in broadcast destination places such as we partner with Reach Me TV. So you'll see my show and the shows that we produce and host on our network, which is about 25 different shows on Reach Me TV in the airport. So we're on roughly 60 airports plus over 1 million hotel rooms. And then typically you'll see a lot of our shows in Captivate Network, which is in the elevators of about 1,600 to 2,000 buildings around the country. You'll see our shows there as well.
So give us an idea of what type of shows those are.
Well, you have everything from my show, which is one show. It's called Executive Perspectives Live, where I actually film the show in front of a live executive audience, typically at the C-Suite Network Conference, but not always. And we go and we film real interviews with real executives. So they're not typical business shows that you see on networks where they talk about, well, stock is up a quarter, down a penny. We just think that's a waste of our time. We know what everybody knows what your company's doing. You can, get the information a lot better than watching TV. And so what we do is we focus on real problems, real challenges, and real successes. And so you'll see shows like C-Suite with Jeffrey Hazlett. You'll see Executive Perspective Live. You'll see Smart Fem. You'll see Running to the Roar. You'll see marketing shows. You'll see customer service shows with Shep Hyken and a whole host of other shows that you'll find right there. So think of the kinds of things you'd like to see on TV, and typically you can find them.
So what do you find is the biggest problems or challenges with the C-Suite?
Well, they're most like business problems. It's always about connections. So it's finding the right kinds of people you want to work with and finding the right kinds of customers and the right kinds of partners. So it's always vendors and partners and then last but not least, people. I mean, those are the four kind of areas that you typically want to look for. So you want vendors and partners, you want great customers, you want great suppliers, and you want great people to hire. And so that's typically what you see in the C-Suite. Those are the challenges that most people are consumed with. Mm-hmm. And then you have some groups like the CEO Club, which is more concerned around high growth and doing the right kinds of things. And so in those areas, you typically will see people, more focused on access to capital and education and how to handle the growth. And so we try to work with those groups to make sure that that's handled as well.
So what are those the same challenges that you faced whenever you were CMO of Fortune 100 company, or have you seen the challenges evolve or change from then to now?
Well, I mean, it depends on your situation. At Kodak, I was at CMO of Kodak, and we had some different challenges in trying to transform to the digital age from a more analog company. So those had, certainly the same aspects of finding the right partners, the right, players, the right people to be able to run it. But I was focused differently on the conditions of satisfaction. Conditions of satisfaction are things that, where is it you want to go? What's your promises that you have to deliver? So I had to focus on those particular areas. So high growth, more profit, net realized rate when it came to consumer kinds of business, name recognition, customer satisfaction. Those were all areas of which, I was most focused on. And then certainly not last but not least, I had to get along well with the executive team. So those were the things that I was most measured by. And I think most companies, most executives are focused in those areas, but, they get a little bit more specific. I mean, I had some specific targets around, I mentioned NRR, net realized rate, because as we were making some transition, our SG&A was very, very high. And so to be able to trim that down, I had to focus more on the net realized rate. So how can I get more out of the bang for the buck that we were spending? At the same time, we were, revenue, most things were declining for us. On the consumer side, on the B2B side, it was still growing, but the consumer side was pretty rough. And so, I had to deal with some probably different things than most people have to deal with in terms of that. How to re-energize, a company that was, felt its best days were behind it. And that's a different kind of challenge in itself as well.
Mm-hmm. So that sounds like a lot of stress and pressure, especially when you get to that level, right? So how or what did you do to deal with that stress and pressure? And what do you find that other C-level executives do to deal with that stress and pressure?
A lot of drugs. No, I'm just joking. No drugs. Stress comes with, there's those that have to deal with stress and those that cause stress. I'm more of a cause stress kind of guy than deal with stress. The stress is, that's what I'm hired to do. this isn't my first rodeo. I bought and sold over 250 companies in my career, well over, $25 billion in transactions. So when you've done these things, you typically take them in stride. So it's not so much of an issue for me in terms of, was I stressed? Were there times in the day or times in the year or times in the month or week or day or whatever where I would like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up? Yeah, when I did something stupid or something along those lines, every once in a while I would do that. And I would think, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. There were some of those kinds of moments from time to time. But, by and large, this is what I'm there for. I'm a big boy. Put on my big boy panties. That's what I got to do. And this is what I'm supposed to get done. And so I didn't, you don't worry too much about the stress. I can stress about the stress, but I don't stress about the stress because that's what I'm there to do. The biggest thing for me was to realize the scale of which I was doing it. It was the first time that I was at that massive, massive scale for me at the Kodak job, for instance. But, I learned a long time ago that, what I do in Sioux Falls on Main Street is the same as what I would do in Wall Street. Meaning it's the same things, just the numbers of zeros, the intensity, the scale is different. And that's probably the thing that I learned very quickly. And at the same time, when I got into big jobs like that, I would think, well, geez, how many times are we getting together as a team? And, we don't, you find it at that bigger level in a lot of companies, not in all companies, but you typically, you're doing your job. You're doing what you're responsible for, what your condition of satisfaction you signed up for. And there's not a lot of looking over your shoulder to make sure you're getting it done. So there's not a lot of meetings to get together where you're, meeting every day with the CEO. I didn't do that. Maybe we got together maybe twice a month at max, a couple times more. But when it was a little bit more, especially 2008, when we're going through the financial crisis, we typically got together a little bit more, but not overall, because you're there to do your job. And, it's, to use a term maybe that you would use in your show, but man up, or woman up, that's our job responsibilities. And there's not a lot of that, sitting around crying about it, waiting for it and getting it done. Just go get it done.
So how do you train yourself for that? Because that sounds like something that you've had to somehow, somewhere along the way, train yourself to manage stress, or to realize, like what you said, to realize that you're not going to stress about the stress. How do you train yourself to be that way as opposed to letting the stress and the pressure get to you?
I got to tell you, it's a hard question for me to answer because I've never had training for it, meaning you just did it. You know what I mean? Probably said, someone said, well, how do you get so confident? Well, I don't know. Didn't know there was anything else, So it's a lot of that way. I think the more you do it, the better it becomes, the easier it becomes, the more self-assured you are about who you are and what you are. I did an event not too long ago for a bunch of celebrities where they were asking me about my own business because, here I've got 600,000 followers. I got the TV shows. I got the radio show. I got, three published best-selling books, and it's been very successful for me. And so they were, and we built millions of dollars worth of business behind the brand of me. Mm-hmm. And so they were asking us, because we're doing a really good job of it, quite frankly, just to look at it from an outside perspective, looking down, my team, my son, my daughter, my people that work for me in this particular area have done a really great job of creating this like global business celebrity that we call it. And we created it. We said, we're going to do it. And so someone said, well, Jeff, what do you do when those little voices come to you and, doubt and start talking to you? And I turned to him, and I was in front of the whole room, and I said, what voices? And they said, those little voices. I said, oh, I stopped inviting those to dinner a long time ago. And which means I don't, I don't question, do I get nervous? Do I deal with some of those things? Without question. I think we all do, but I stopped inviting that stuff. I just, it's just part of the nature, I got somebody that, every once in a while you get legal issues, from time to time, someone who thinks that they should take a shot at you or something. And those things used to bother me. And now even that doesn't bother me. There's a bunch of trolls out there. There's a bunch of assholes. There's a bunch of stupid people. There's a bunch of smart people. There's everything in this world. but I just don't worry about that too much. I worry about what I do and what I'm responsible for. And if I can handle that, that's my job. That's what.
So how do you stop inviting them? Because the person who asked you that probably thought, okay, well, that's really good, but I'm still inviting them. So how do you said I stopped inviting them. So how do you stop, quote unquote, stop inviting them? So people out there who are still inviting.
Why would you want to go through that bullshit? Why would you want to go through the thought processes of I'm not good enough? Are you, why not? It's give yourself permission to be good enough. Not to doubt yourself, not to question yourself. Give yourself permission to be as good as what you doubt. And by the way, if you start doing that and start acting and start swallowing, start accepting it, walk into it, accept it into your body, well, then you're going to be a lot better about it. It's like I tell people, like, why should I be on TV? Because I got a face for TV. Right? That's why. With a face like this, it should be on TV. Do I have that face? No. Are you kidding me? I'm 6'3", 270 pounds. I'm bigger than necessary, as they say. But, I just do it the way I want to do it. And if you just give yourself the permission to do that. It's just like sometimes people say, Jeff, you should wear a suit and tie. I'm not wearing a suit and tie. I gave that up a long time ago. If when I was on Bloomberg, they said, Jeff, we want you to wear a suit and tie. I said, I'm not wearing a suit and tie. I don't wear a suit and tie. They said, well, at least wear pants, besides jeans, wear some dress pants. Well, no, not going to do it. No, it's like here recently, somebody wanted me to be in a parade and be like the, big parade marshal in the parade. I'm talking about big major city, right? And they said, well, you got to wear black pants. I said, I don't have black pants. I got jeans. They go, well, but you have to have black pants. I go, I don't have black pants. So if that means I got to turn it down, I turn it down. That's okay with me. It's okay with me.
So I think, and what you're saying is like you have the choice to buy into whichever path that you buy into, right? You can buy into, you have the face for TV, or you can buy into, I don't have the face for TV, and you're going to keep going down whatever path you give yourself permission to go down, right? So if you give
by the way, that doesn't make it's going to be right. Doesn't mean it's better.
Yes.
Doesn't mean it's the most successful way, but it's my way. And so I'm happy with that. I accept that. Does that mean I will lose out on some things? Yes. Okay. I do keynotes and sometimes I'll swear, or I'll do TV shows and I swear. I can do that on my show because it's my show, but they bleep me out of my own show. But it's who I am. If it's who I am, then why not be who you are? And I would much rather do that. It's like a lot of speakers and authors and television people that say, you must do this. And I tell them, no, you don't have to do it that way. Mm-hmm. You can do it any way you want to. It may be better to do it some ways other than others, but regardless, it's your way. And I say that's the way to follow. I would much rather be authentic and real in everything I do rather than try to agree to some prescribed notions. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't need to have some kind of adherence to that, because there are some norms that you have to have, right? Mm-hmm. And some civility that you must occur. Well, if it fits me, then I'm great with that. If it doesn't, then I just can't do those things. But it's like if you go to a funeral, should you dress up? Yeah. If you go to, there's certain things you should do. I have to borrow somebody's pants if I have to do that. But I think if the guy's dead, he's going to let me wear jeans. I think that's okay.
I think he'll be okay with that. Yeah. But here's the key in what you said, that in order to do all of that, you have to know who you are. Most people don't know who they are.
Oh.
So how do you find out and be so
quote, that great movie. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Remember that saying that you check yourself before you wreck yourself? I had Stedman Graham on my radio show, great guy, good friend. And of course, he's Oprah squeeze. I always give him a hard time about that. But, I asked him if she's running for president. I'm kind of curious to know if she's running for president. I think she'd be a good president. I think she'd be a lot of fun. She won't be as batshit crazy as the guy we got now, but I like batshit crazy too. So there's nothing wrong with that. So, cause I think it mixes it up. I think it takes all kinds. That's what America's all about. It takes all kinds. Even if, it's like Donald Trump's bringing women together. Okay. they're all marching against him. So that's what I mean by bringing people together. I think it's good to have a little bit of that controversy on both sides. I think it's awesome. But, Stedman said, you can't do things for others if you can't do them for yourself. And if you can't have a good basis for who you are, how can you inspire others? And so, I see a lot of people who try to be all things to all people, and you should stop that. And then they try, instead of doing it right, they coach instead of like learning it themselves or whatever. I mean, not to say that all coaches or trainers are like that, because that's not the case, but you do see a lot of people who don't have it enough together. And could we all improve? Can we all be better? Without question. I'm not the greatest father, the greatest grandfather, the greatest boss, the greatest, friend or whatever. I'm the greatest fisherman, the greatest hunter. There's always ways to improve oneself. And we should always be striving to be a continuous improvement.
Mm-hmm. But how do you find out who you are? Because you have a solid foundation of who you are. For those people who are struggling with even finding out who they are, it's not a matter of getting better. They're just going, okay, well, I'm going to be.
Think about it. I can't even comprehend that. Who you are is who you are right then, right that minute. That's it. Now, is that good or bad? I don't know. But you figure that's who you are. Okay. It's not like, let's get out of an outer body experience and then let's figure out who I am. Who you are is who you are right this minute. And that's going to continue to change. It can change this for me all the time. I'll evolve and change myself over time. We go through different roles in our lives, where I'm this or I'm that or I'm that, I'm that, I'm that, and all these labels that we put on it, but all of those make up who I am. That's the culture of who we are, the socialization, the process that drives us as to who we are. And that's who I am in that moment. Could I be better? Yeah. Okay.
But you're consistent in the different areas. Like you just said, if somebody wants me to wear black pants, most people would conform and wear black pants. And that's not what I want.
Yeah, but to be a maestro, you got to learn to play a lot of bad notes. And to be a maestro at this or that, you have to learn to be a beginner first. And I'm okay with that, being a beginner. I'm okay in saying, I don't know what you're talking about, or I don't know how to do that. I used to fly fish when I was in high school, and I was okay at it. But then last year I went fly fishing with a bunch of people, and I really enjoyed it. And so now I decided, okay, I went out and got all the gear. Okay. Now I dress up. I look like an Orvis ad, an ad from Orvis with all the shit that I got on. And yet, can I do it functionally? Yeah. Am I good at it? No. And then I go when I go fishing, I hire a guide, somebody that knows what they're doing and I just say, show me. Here I am, bigger, older, richer, smarter than, the guy teaching me. But in this particular case, he's smarter, richer, better looking and all the things when it comes to trout, right? So I need to step back and say, I'm a beginner, and I'm okay with that. And then like this week, by the way, I was out fishing and something turned on and somebody else showed me something. It's quick, slow, which if you know anything about taking in the lead was like overnight. And then like boom, the lights went off and I was catching fish after fish after fish after I learned that technique. But that was just something I had to learn. So, I'm okay with that. Just, hey, teach me Obi-Wan or teach me whatever great leader. I don't care. I just want to catch some freaking fish, so.
See, I love that. You know who you are so much that you can also say, hey, I don't know a lot about fly fishing, or I still need to learn this much. I'm a beginner.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, like I've been married for 36 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I'm a terrible husband. I suck at it. I'm terrible. I know me. I wouldn't be married to me. But I'm doing better. I'm trying. I continue, not just now, but all my whole life. I try, but yet I don't think I'm a maestro at it because I just know I have deficiencies in it. So I just try, just like being a father, being a grandfather, being a boss, being a trout fisherman. I just know I'm okay with it. I mean, I am who I am. I can't change that. I'm not going to sit here and woe is me. I suck at it. I don't think I suck at it, because if you suck at it, nobody would hire you. Nobody would let you do it. Nobody would let you, the fish would laugh at you, that kind of thing. But, but that's okay too. It's all right to laugh at me because I'm a beginner, so I don't care.
But what I love about that is after 36 years of marriage, you still say, I'm a horrible husband. Like you acknowledge it, you recognize it, you're aware of it, and you say, and I'm doing better. I think a lot of people out there would
I'm a guy.
say, I'm not a bad
Most
husband.
guys, by the way, most guys are that way. Yeah. So most guys are that way. We're just suck at it. We don't know. It's like we can't communicate. We're not good at it. I saw, it's like who's the guy in Boo Comedy Hour where he's at the gym and he talks about, this guy he runs into and he's spotting the guy on weights and he goes, oh, by the way, Melissa and I got a divorce. And then he goes home and then he tells his wife, he runs into the wife, what happened? Oh, yeah, I was lifting weights. And she goes, well, who'd you see? Well, I saw Jim. And he goes, what'd Jim say? Oh, yeah, he said he got a divorce. Well, what'd he say? Oh, he said he got a divorce. Well, what did he say about the divorce? Well, he freaking got a divorce. Well, that's all he said. Well, did you ask him? Like, these are guys. This is what we do. We it's like, okay, boom, that's all right. We're all right with that.
Whereas we women want the details. We want, so what happened? And then she did this and he said this. And the guy's like, no, we'll just clip notes.
Yeah, well, I saw another one this week. A friend of mine sent me the text between a husband and wife, and it shows in real time what's going on. The guy gets a text that goes from his wife, honey, what are you doing? He goes, and then he writes, what the effing hell do you think I'm doing? I just left you 3 minutes ago. I'm at work. And then he erases it. What the hell? I'm at work. No, erases it. I'm at work. And then she goes, well, what are you doing at work? What the hell? What are you asking me? I'm working. And then he types it all out. And then he goes, doing something for my boss. And then it just goes on and on and on, which is a normal thing for guys, guys. And then she says, this isn't working. I'll call you. And then he goes, no, call me late. It's 2:02. She goes, well, what report are you doing for your boss? He goes, it's too complicated. I'll tell you later. Then she says, I'll call you. And then he goes, okay. And then she goes, how come you didn't answer my phone? Well, because he's working, he means like, we'll do it later. And it's like, this is stuff that we have to work on.
But you know what? And that note, stuff that women need to work on too. That's a two-way street.
Yeah, that's never going to happen, but that's okay.
That's a two-way street.
You're complicated. We'll just leave it at you're complicated. We're less complicated. It's very straight, black and white. What are you thinking about? Nothing. Okay. Because when I say nothing, I'm not thinking about nothing. Okay. I'm just like vegetating. I just need my man time, my cave time. I just need that. Let me alone.
I love that.
Yeah, but that's okay. But we'll figure that stuff out. That's what guys are supposed to figure out. So we'll do that.
I love that. You're so resounding who you are. And, I talk with a lot of guys and, most guys do not know who they are. And I know you said you just can't even wrap your brain around that, but I love how authentic you are in different platforms. And that comes from knowing who you are. And you said, well, if you know who you are now, that's who you are right now. But a lot of times men are changing who they are to please whoever they're in front of or talking to at that exact moment and not really saying, no, that doesn't work for me. And I'm okay. I may have to miss out on that. I'm okay with that. And most people aren't okay with saying, hey, I'm okay with missing out on things.
It's a good thing. I think the key is the core of who you are. Now, in dealing with you, I might change my approach so that it's more, and to me, it's not a fakeness around who you are, but to honor the person that I'm with so that I don't scare them or I don't overpower them as a big guy, I've learned to do these kind of things. And by the way, it makes you much more effective. And it's not, and just like changing your sales styles to different personality types, you should do that because not to be manipulative, but or unauthentic, but to honor the person in the way in which they want to receive the message. So I've learned, and I try to do my best of that wherever possible, but I don't always do it all the time because I might be tired, haven't had my coffee or whatever it might be. Because typically when around people who are stupid, I have a tough time doing that where they'll say something or ask me and I'll go, no, that's not what you said, or that's not what you did. 'Cause I'm pretty black and white when it comes to those kind of things. And I have to learn to be nicer about those things.
I love that, like changing your approach. And I've had to learn to do that as well, because I tend to be very direct. And a lot of times when I'm talking with women, they don't like direct so much as like men appreciate direct a little bit more than women. So I hear you on that. So what is one thing that you can, teach, or one action that you think men should take in their lives based on what we've talked about? So whether it's about being authentic or challenges that they're facing, what can they do to be a better version of themselves?
Well, I think one of the best things, I actually covered this in my book, The Mirror Test. It was around businesses, but you can apply this to yourself. But look in the mirror and say, what is it I want to be? In terms of really having that understanding. And then your conditions of satisfaction. What is it that drives you for yourself? For me, it's three things. It's to build wealth for me and my family, because that's how we keep score. Second, to do things that I find to be interesting, which I learn from. Can I constantly, go to things like somebody will ask me, they want me to do what's called a daily strip show on television, where I actually am on the TV every single day. And I won't do it for a major network. And I won't do it because it doesn't interest me. I've done the television the way I like it. I like to do it the way I like it, and I don't want to do it that way. It just doesn't interest me, because then I'm stuck in New York City in a studio every day at a certain time. I'm not interested in that. And then the third thing is, it's got to be fun for me. And if it's not fun, why would I want to work with someone? Even though the money's good or I learn a lot, but if it's not fun, to me, it's just not interesting enough for me to want to do it. So again, look in the mirror to have a good assessment of who you are and what you are and where you want to go. And then understand the conditions of satisfaction that help guide you there, and make sure that you can measure, am I doing what I want to be or what I want to have?
I love that. Tell me the name of your book again.
It's called The Mirror Test. That's my very first book, The Mirror Test. The second one was Running the Gauntlet. The third is Think Big, Act Bigger, The Rewards of Being Relentless.
I love that. I have to get that mirror test one. I like that. I like that concept. So tell us how we can find you, or if we want to connect with you, where can we go and find you? You can find me in anything that's related to C-Suite. You can just look up C-Suite, network, television, radio, book club. You can C-Suite advisors. You can find us anywhere. We're in all those different places. And then anything me personally is Hayzlett, HAYZLETT.com. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today, Jeffrey. I appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on This Man Thing.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to having you on the next one. You can find us at thismanthing.com, or again, join our free Facebook group at thismanthing.com/groups, where men are connecting with each other to build support, community, and camaraderie. And This Man Thing, we are all about helping you become a truer, better, badass version of yourself. Until next time, have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.